Hello, and welcome back to the M&M Discipleship Podcast, where we discuss what it means to be a disciple of Christ. We aim to look for God in our daily lives, be in His Word, and strive to live out the teachings of Jesus. This is Dakota Moody, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Michael Round. Michael, doing all right this morning?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Doing very well. You know, a lot going on in life. We just had a cruise, my first cruise of my life. What was that? A week ago, I guess. I don't remember. Time is flying so quickly nowadays. It was, yeah. We got off the boat last Thursday. Thursday, yes. So it's been almost a week. Very good experience. Never ate better in my life. I didn't need to gain 4 pounds, but I did.
Only four. You're pretty fortunate.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, if you every
Between
night,
that and Thanksgiving.
I tell you what, yeah. No, well, and here's the thing is, well, we had the late dinner, so it was the 8:15 dinner. Which
Man,
yeah,
I'm in bed
I
by
know.
8:15.
Well, I also don't have children, but yes, but that's what our scheduled time was 8:15, and which was late for me. I don't like to eat that late, but 8:15, you get up there. And I have 4 appetizers, 2 entrees, and 3 desserts every night. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Um,
4 pounds, not too shabby. Not too
yeah.
shabby. So my wife had the best plan though. Anna, she ate all that, and then on the way back, it was on Thanksgiving Day that we drove back. We had to stop at a McDonald's because it was the only thing open, and she got food poisoning, so she didn't gain any weight. She
Oh
lost it
no.
all with food poisoning.
I was really nervous when you started with my wife, what she
Yes,
ate and what she gained.
yes.
That's what I
Oh
was I was
yes. Oh
worried
yeah.
that you go
Oh
in that
no.
direction.
I don't know. I don't ask, talk, or say anything about my wife's weight, but I'm sure she didn't gain any at all. In fact, she may have lost some weight just because of the food poisoning she had. By
Man.
the way, don't stop at McDonald's on Thanksgiving Day. I know there may be the only thing open, but just don't do it.
Yep. Yep.
Just don't do it. That's just a policy of life. Just don't do it. Anyway, also, don't get the McCrispy sandwich. McDonald's, don't sue me. But you guys made my wife sick, so that's your fault. I got that closing on the house on Friday as well. So a lot of busyness right now. I mean, just so
Mm.
much stuff. Also coaching basketball. We had an away game, by the way, 2 hours away yesterday in a
Oh,
place I've never heard of before. Don't even remember what
where?
the town's name was. Hold on, middle of nowhere. We were 30 minutes outside of Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I
yeah.
guess you guys said South Carolina as well. Because there's a North Augusta, right? Is it called North Augusta
Yeah.
or is it called
North
Augusta?
Augusta,
South
yeah.
Carolina? North Augusta.
Hmm.
Okay. It was in Batesburg, South Carolina.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard of Batesburg.
Have you?
Couldn't tell you where it is, but I heard
I'm
of it.
about to
Oh
say
yeah.
you're one of 10 people who have heard of Batesburg, South Carolina. It was amazing. We went into the gym for this school, private Christian school. They were defending state champions 2 years in a row for clay shooting
Oh man.
in the state of South Carolina. Never even knew that was a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the banners that was hanging in their gym was women's clay shooting. So
Oh, it's women's too.
it's
Wow.
women's clay
That's
shooting
cool.
that they offer
That's super cool.
state champions. Yeah, it was quite an adventure. But like I said, very busy season currently
Well, wait a
going on
second,
in
wait
my
a second.
life. Go ahead.
The real
Yes,
question is, did you win?
we don't need to talk about that.
Have we won
I'll
any
also
games yet this year?
I'll also well I'll say this. I'll say this. Last night refs were so bad. I
Of course they
almost
were.
I almost got no, I genuinely almost got a technical foul last night during a game between two private Christian middle school teams. And I almost got a technical. Not from being boisterous, but just pointing out the fact that they were not great refs. There was one guy,
Mm,
literally they blew a timeout at one point way after the time that of timeout should be allowed for the other
mm,
team because one of the refs could not get to his whistle quick enough because he could maybe move 10 feet every couple minutes. Um
mm.
anyway, it was an adventure last night, but we won't talk anymore about teams rounding into form, though. I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to get there. It may take
Spoken
a
like a
little
real
bit
coach.
longer. I tell you, oh yes, I'm telling you, it may take a little longer. We didn't get the necessarily the practice time and the conditioning
Mm,
time that I would have liked before the season, and we also had to we half of our games are we're having to play against JV teams, and the other time we're playing middle schools. It's kind of a tough situation, but teams they're improving. We're getting better. We just got to keep doing that, regardless. You doing all right, Michael? Everything good with you?
Things are great.
Good,
Things have been busy.
good.
We had family in for Thanksgiving.
Mm.
But no, things have been really good so far. And yeah, just hanging in there. Not as busy as you. We haven't bought a house. We haven't gone on a cruise.
But you have kids, which means every day is busy and hectic. Um,
That is fair. That is fair enough. We actually
and
got
that's it.
snow in Tennessee too.
There
That was
you
really cool.
go. Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people getting some snow, kind of early, and
Hmm.
I'm okay not having that for a little bit longer. I do like cooler temperatures, and we're getting that. Snow can hold off because I want to still I like it to be cooler, but I still want to be able to play golf. And
Yeah.
if it snows, that's not really a possibility. So, you know how
Mm.
hard it would be to find a ball in snow,
Oh
a white
yeah,
golf
that's
ball
true.
in snow. You'd have to. I don't use balls that are colored. I did a little bit, use some red balls one time, and that was horrible. I had a
Hmm.
friend of mine, he used a blue ball, and as soon as it went into the sky, he lost it. So
Oh yeah.
it was
It's one of those great
horrible.
in theory, but then like you said, as soon as you hit it, you're
Yes,
like, oh, that's why people don't
horrible.
use green,
Ex
blue golf balls.
exactly. It's like, why don't we use a green ball? So that way, when it's in the middle of the fairway, you can't see it. And it's like, okay, you hit it
Yeah.
into the sky, which is blue. Yeah, it was not good. Anywho, well, we want to say this. So this is the 49th episode of the M&M Discipleship Podcast, which we're very excited that we are at this point, that we've gotten to 49 episodes. We want to thank all of you who have been part of the journey with us to get to 49 episodes. But with that, that means we've got a 50th episode coming up. We're going to be excited for that. But as we get to that stage where we're getting to the 50th, the landmark 50th episode, we're thinking about, is what we're doing right now um, the most beneficial, the best podcast that we can kind of produce, that we can put on? And because we've been thinking that, considering that, there's probably going to be some changes, some hopefully very positive, very good changes coming up in the MEM Discipleship Podcast. I know you all have come to expect that, when we're going to come on the podcast, we're going to open up with probably a little chit chat. Going to go straight into where we've seen God, with some scripture, and some reading. And that's not to say that all of that's going to disappear. I still think there's a lot of value in those things. But I think in the future, what we're going to try to do is those things they're gonna come up hopefully organically a little bit
Mhm.
more, and hopefully we can insert some other interesting things into the podcast. Always going to be based in spirituality. Me and Michael aren't going to be spending 15 minutes talking about our fantasy teams, no matter how much we may or may not like to do that. I really don't want to right now.
Yeah, me either.
We're not going to be talking about that. We're not going to be talking about how Texas football currently has the number one ranked recruiting class in the country this morning, on early
We are
signing day.
not talking about that.
Or how they're playing in the SEC championship in their first year in the conference. But those sorts of things are things we're not going to talk about, unfortunately. But we're not going to talk about those sorts of things. But they are still going to relate to spiritual matters, spiritual things. But we hope we can find some interesting ways to tell them. And to be honest, one thing as well that we're really thinking about doing is adding some guests every now and then. Now that doesn't mean that we're going to have a guest every week or every podcast. But when we can find interesting people that we think we can have great discussion with, and you guys would be interested in hearing, we want to bring them on, and when they've got availability to do so, and to be able to have guests on the podcast. And maybe we might have guest only episodes, or we may kind of bring guests into our normal format, things like that. That's going to be helpful. So look forward to some changes. And I'll say this as well, because we're going through this transitional period, we're also going through this period where it's the holidays. And I'm buying a house and slash painting a house slash moving a house to another location. And there's a lot of other things going on in our lives around the holiday season. We're probably going to also take a little bit of a break. We're going to look to take a few weeks and hopefully start back in January. And we're going to come back with our 50th episode, our landmark episode, and that will be kind of while it will be our 50th episode, it will be the first episode in our new format as a podcast.
Yeah, definitely. And so before we go today, we do want to just encourage you. A passage that's on my mind this time of year is Colossians 3:1, where Paul says, if you've been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above where Christ is. Uh, don't lose sight of your faith in the Lord. Don't lose sight of Jesus, what he's done for you. Don't lose sight of God and how he's blessed you. In
Mm,
the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, we can lose sight of those things. I
definitely.
started a book yesterday that I'm really enjoying. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And he talks about how our lives are so busy and hurried. And it's to the point that it is causing us to be spiritually shallow. And we might not be thinking about it. And that's the problem. We're just letting the world condition us through the different forms of media and things like that. And so in our daily walk, let's make sure to carve out time for the Lord, to focus on him, and to be mindful of what he's done for us. So we really appreciate you guys, and we hope you'll join us in our next format as we begin our next evolution of what the podcast looks like. But we really appreciate y'all joining us, and we hope you'll have a great holiday season. Until next time, let's look for God in our daily lives, be in his word, and strive to live out the teachings of Jesus. Bye for now.